Okay, Mozart Part 3. So we just got to the part where no one knew why he got so sick. Blood-sucking slugs called leeches were used to suck out the so-called bad blood from his joints, which is what doctors of the time believed caused illness. So what did doctors think caused illness? Bad blood.
Oh.
Aiden got it right. The sore joint was shaved and pricked. The leech was kept in a cup until it latched onto the knee or the elbow, and several hours later, after the leech was full of blood, it would fall off. This is a picture of a fat leech.
Perfect.
That was a practice that doctors used to do that was called bleeding, and they would actually bleed the patient to try and get all the bad blood out of them, thinking that good blood would rejuvenate and make them healthy.
Why would anybody do that?
They weren't very scientifically
stupid.
forward-thinking back then.
That's just stupid.
It often ended very, very badly.
Oh, duh. I mean, you put leeches on a person's body.
It's not going to do much good, huh? All right. One day, an unknown messenger came with a request for Mozart to write a requiem. Do we know what a requiem is?
No.
Aiden knows because he already read this. So we're going to do that as one of our vocabulary words, and it's called the death song.
Oh, I should have read that.
For a person whose identity the messenger didn't wish to disclose. The pay was good, so Mozart jumped at the commission. Do we know what commission is? We're going to define that.
Opportunity.
Kind of. Close, actually. While Mozart worked out on the requiem, he grew weaker and weaker. He began to get the creepy feeling he was writing the requiem for himself. When Mozart's skin erupted in red pustules, he said, "I'm being poisoned to death." Do we know what pustules are? Aiden says no.
Holes.
So, nope. The doctor's diagnosis was severe military fever, which was a catchphrase for everything is falling apart. Don't bite your nails. Aiden, you want to come closer? Okay. It was said to be caused by excessive passions.
Shower.
Okay. Thanks for sharing that with the world. He's going to take a shower. He's sweaty.
Some people would have not known.
Oh, no one would have known. They thought it was caused by excessive passions and eating too many plums and cucumbers. Doctors smeared concoctions of warm turpentined wax, powdered Spanish flies, and mustard on his body, which made his skin bubble up and blister. Not a pretty picture. Mozart's hands swelled up. His music-making fingers turned into 10 overstuffed sausages. That's when Mozart got into bed. Soon he began to vomit. His fever spiked, and his rash got worse. He sounds really, really handsome right now. His whole body ballooned up, and he was unable to sit up. He was slumped over in bed, and crippled fingers were too puffed up even to hold a pen. But he hummed and tapped out the requiem while a musical assistant wrote down the notes for him. The stink of rotting human filled the apartment. When Mozart said, "I can taste death in my mouth," someone ran to get the priest. But Mozart never wrote that much church music, so the priest wouldn't come over. That's sad. They searched for the doctor and eventually found him at the theater, but he wouldn't leave until the performance was over. He knew that Mozart could croak any minute, and he didn't want to be there when it happened. He did not want to be known as the doctor who failed to save one of the most brilliant human beings of all time. That could really kill a medical career. After taking the long way, the doctor finally arrived. He put a cold water compress on Mozart's forehead. Oh, with the water was vinegar as well. A cold water and vinegar compress on Mozart's forehead. Do you think that that's going to do much to stop a fever? Nope. It can help, but not when it's this far. Mozart shivered, then vomited across the room. 2 hours later, he was dead. Mozart was right in a way. He was writing the requiem for himself. Costanza jumped into Mozart's bed to catch what he had so she could die with him, but it didn't work. That's true love, and a little bit of obsession in my opinion. He had been sick for only 15 days. Even in death, he was quick. Mozart's final illness had started with a streptococcal, which means strep, infection in his throat, and migrated into his blood and joints, ultimately leading to kidney failure. So what did he die of, Aiden?
Just a strep throat.
Did he die of just a strep throat?
Oh.
Leading to
Kidney.
failure. If you have kidney failure, guys, you're out of luck. That's why not so much of the alcohol when you get older, because it will kill your kidneys and your liver. Mozart died on December 5th, 1791 in Vienna, Austria. He was only 35 years old. They didn't do an autopsy because his corpse was too smelly. The skin was soft and squishy, not stiff like that of a normal dead person. After a small gathering at the cathedral, a horse and cart picked up Mozart's coffin and clopped 3 miles to St. Mark's Cemetery. Nobody went with it because attending the burial wasn't the custom of the time. Mozart's body was taken out of the reusable coffin, sewn into a body bag, and covered with quicklime to make it decompose faster. He was buried that night or the next morning, depending on when the 5 or 6 other unlucky stiffs were on hand to fill up the common grave alongside Mozart. There were no headstones marking the grave because the emperor forbade them, and that was that. Unless you were royalty or super rich, the law required sack burials as they were cheaper and cleaner, so most people were buried that way. Costanza didn't go to Mozart's grave for 17 years. Again, people didn't really go back then. When she eventually went there, she couldn't find the grave because the person who buried Mozart was dead. And anyway, every 7 years, the decomposed bodies in common graves were cleaned out and raked over to prepare for more burials. Poor Mozart. He died poor, a sausage, and in an unmarked grave. Today, strep throat can be cured by taking antibiotics. Unfortunately, Mozart died 140 years before antibiotics were invented.